Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of A Cup of Joe. My name is Joe Escobedo. Very excited on the show today. Today on the show, we have Jeanette Juay, who is the Director of Marketing Communications at Deloitte Southeast Asia. Thanks so much for being on the show, Jeanette.
Thank you. It's really good to speak with you today. How's everything going for you?
Good, good. It's very, very busy, but I'm glad we had a chance to catch up here and now. So for today's session, you wanted to share kind of a personalized website experiment that you've been running. So once again, I would love to find out what was that experiment, why did you actually decide to run it, and then
Mm.
you some visuals and things you want to take us through to really bring it to life. So first off, I guess what is the experiment that you've been running?
So maybe I'll take this opportunity to just share my screen and share some slides on what's the personalized website that we have created. So let me know if that is appearing on your screen.
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. So, when you ask me what is it that we could talk about, I thought I could use this opportunity to share with everyone a little bit more about the importance of personalization in marketing right now. So, and the concept is not new, right? In particular for consumer brands, but for B2B companies, we are evolving from not just delivering the right message at the right time, but to deliver personalized messages. So let me just show you just one aspect of what it means for us at Deloitte. So we started this program sometime last year, and the goal is to build a personalizable site called My Deloitte. So for us, personalization journey is actually a two-way street. We want to talk about how we allow our clients to personalize their own journey with us, but at the same time, we want to be able to push out relevant content to them. So it's a very simple step. For example, if you look at this particular slide, you can see that you can register with your first name, last name, and you can even link your social media accounts to their site. So once you're registered, this is what you will see. So it's a place where you can set your own preferences based on the industries and business focus to enable tailored content suggestions across the site. You can also bookmark content and save content to your reading list. For example, here I want to save this particular story about the value of resilient leadership, and it allows you to achieve personalization on a very generic Deloitte.com webpage. So it also, what's interesting is that it allows us to push information to you as a client through either recommendations or even the profile of key account representatives, so they know who to reach out to if they ever want to. And for our clients and prospects, you see that they actually have a very tailored and simplified experience. A lot of people have corporate websites, they're a little bit busy. So we thought that by having this very tailored and simplified experience, they would be able to receive information a little bit easier. And for account teams and marketers, they have access to more data points. We have a larger audience to learn from. For instance, we had insights on their behavior, their content preferences at a client and contact level to build the digital relationship. We also have the ability to offer exclusive content through recommendation. But I think most importantly, it puts the user in control. It allows them to interact with content in the way they want to. Yeah.
Very interesting. I might have missed it. So you can log in, you can put in your information, you can log in with your social media platforms. How does
Yep.
it connect in terms of the personalized content? So for example, it has your information, it has your, social media information as well. How does that connect to the personalized content it's recommending?
So basically, it goes into a kind of like CRM system on the back end. So when we log in there, we can actually see our profile and we can see your preferences in terms of what content you actually like or bookmarked. So on that end, we can look at your company profile, and then we can say, okay, for example, you are a Johnson and Johnson client. You want to look all about healthcare and life sciences. Then we can say we put Johnson and Johnson, we link it up with life sciences and healthcare reports at the back end. So there's a link between the actual website and our customer relationship management system, to allow that seamless interaction. So yeah, it requires a little bit of technology behind and analytics to ensure that it's seamless.
Okay, I think it makes sense. I want to find out more about the technology in a little bit, but so if I heard that correctly, there's two ways. There's one way in which you can bookmark items. So for example,
Yes.
the more items I bookmark, the more it's going to show up. The
Yep.
other side of that is you said on the back end, because you can see, for example, if it's Johnson and Johnson in the healthcare space, you can manually go in and showcase more healthcare related content to that specific person. Is that correct?
Correct, exactly. In the recommended content section for them.
The content section. Okay, got it.
Mm.
As well. Okay, very, very cool. And in terms of, you mentioned the technology to run it, what kind of technology is required to run something like this?
Currently, we're working very closely with Salesforce to actually do the back end analysis. And for the website itself, it's actually a custom platform that we developed together with our usual Deloitte.com site.
Okay, very, very cool. And I guess people always ask, what was the implementation time to put this together from end to end, from strategy to what we see currently?
I think we started this early last year, and we felt that with the digital transformation happening in the world right now, we needed to be a little bit different. And if you ask me why do we do it now, fundamentally we know that in spite of the growing complexity of digital channels, the role of the corporate website, remains the most important, and it's an important hub for all forms of digital interaction, as well as it's a key research destination for clients, potential clients, employees, and even new recruits, and even our own employees use the website for information. So we felt like we needed to monitor new trends and experiment with new techniques. And to be frank, this is not a new system that is out there in the market right now. Different companies offer different ways of personalizing your website, but we have made it one step further by introducing accounting information, the recommended content, because we know that if I go in and I log in and say, okay, this is just a normal website, but if I want to contact somebody from Deloitte after reading an interesting piece of article, who do I go to? So we think that as you move along the marketing journey, the account-based marketing, that personalization is going to become even more important.
That makes perfect sense. And one thing you mentioned earlier was the data points, and because people are putting in the kind of content they prefer, or the content they're bookmarking, you get more data points in the back end. I don't know if this is a breach of kind of security or personal data and stuff like that, but are you able to take that information and, for example, use it to create your upcoming content strategy? If you know, for example, that 70% of the people engaging with it are liking or bookmarking this particular piece of content or saving it, are you able to see that, and does that dictate or help craft your upcoming strategies?
Definitely. But I think to your point, that's one thing that we thought about when we developed this My Deloitte site. We know that we must continue to protect customer privacy because it has been, and rightly so, it has been a concern for consumers and brands alike. Companies at the cutting edge of personalization are more likely to, want to proactively manage it because the privacy issue lies at the heart of the trust between a customer and the brand, and we need to get it right. So, to your other question, we actually use the data to actually define what our content strategy is, because we need to know exactly what our customers are consuming, right, in terms of information. And that is basically why we want to create content that is meaningful for the customers, and not content that we think is interesting. But if you're consuming it, let's see how we can get you more relevant information and more bite-sized information so that you can actually get to a point where you can actually move your organization along.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm a big believer in creating content for the audience and not necessarily for yourself. So I love the approach. And one thing that you brought up was quite interesting is that this kind of platform can appeal to multiple audiences. You talked about clients, prospects,
Yep.
partners, employees. Which group have you seen has the larger kind of adoption or usage on this platform currently?
So I think there are two audiences that we naturally would be targeting. One is our clients, because they are the ones that are looking at thought leadership pieces, opinion pieces, research, or latest updates and regulations. But if you notice that the new hires or the experienced hire, they're looking at things like life at Deloitte, what kind of culture you have, what are your shared values, what kind of interesting benefits do you offer to your staff, and also the diversity and inclusion nature of the organization it's increasingly becoming even more important, and that's something that we see in terms of differentiation. So I would say that the site now is mainly used by customers for client interactions.
Okay, but like I said, there's huge potential there for an employer branding point of view in terms
Exactly.
of leveraging that information and sharpening that to your employer branding strategy. So it kind of ticks both those boxes. Um,
Yeah.
what has been some of the feedback from some of the customers who've been using it thus far, who are now getting this personalized website experience?
we have received positive feedback on the interaction, and I think it reinforces our digital promise to our clients, which is to enable anyone who interact with us online to experience Deloitte in a way that will enhance their capacity to move forward, and to act. And we want to be able to make the step very simple and connect them to ideas, our people, communities, and services that are relevant and of interest to them, and also help them take advantage of the uniquely rich Deloitte network. So for example, like just using J&J again, right? J&J is a global client of ours. So, we have people from Singapore that is working very closely with global to, ensure that the content that we push out is consistent. There's actually a lot more that we can do in this space. But I think at least from the feedback that we've received from our clients, we are at least on the right track.
Okay, no, that's always good to hear that the client is giving that positive feedback. A couple different things, because you mentioned there's so much more you could do. I'm keen to find out kind of the full power of this. Is there ways for this right now? It sounds like you have to be logged into the platform to get this personalized content. Is there a way,
Mhm.
for example, that you could get, sign up for weekly or monthly newsletter updates that only serve kind of recommendations based on your kind of preferences or your what you've selected?
Yes, so that's something that we already do currently on a different platform. So they can either sign up to either like maybe tax related content or risk advisory related content. And here is really just more, I would say more a pull way of interacting with content, but rather than a newsletter, which is more a push content format.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a way to combine the two because I've seen some, newsletters or some kind of EDMs where you can take, so for example, you're interested in text or text or AI or whatever it is, so you'll get that kind of. But this once again gets a bit more granular because you could have someone who's interested in tax and AI and whatever
Yeah.
else is with fintech, for example. You're kind of once again customizing it based on a little more granular level based on what they're interacting with, and then sharing that information because I think one of the caveats is, and I want to ask in terms of, you know, you have to log in. So it's a little bit of an extra step versus people who are
Yep.
already checking their emails naturally. It might be a way
True.
to kind of seamlessly transition the content that you're getting, information you're getting, in a way the platform that you're getting here. And then
Mm.
obviously there's different ways they could share the information on their social channels. So there's a lot of different ways in which you can leverage it. So it sounds like it's quite a powerful platform.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what you think. Maybe you can share with me your views about this, but people are less and less wanting to receive a lot of emails because they get so many of these content newsletters in their mailbox. And if you look at the data points, they hardly click on them or like hardly interact with them. So I think if even when you want to search for content, like for example, Deloitte is where you want to go for thought leadership. By logging into this platform, you have your own web page and your own personalized content. It feels like I hope it's much easier for the clients really, because you're having to go through the emails to just find content. It could be quite difficult.
I absolutely agree, and this is something we're working with clients on currently, the whole email kind of content point of view. Because you're right, a lot of clients are getting flooded with emails, and I think it goes back to a couple different things. One of which is giving them preference in terms of how many or how often they would like to receive the newsletters. So is it a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly? So giving them a preference to select is one thing. And on top of that, one thing that we've seen work quite well, to your point, instead of just putting a bunch of links, is putting a snippet or a
Mm.
sneak in terms of what you can expect. Or even better than that is what is the key takeaway. So for example, if you have a newsletter just for CEOs or CMOs, they're probably not going to read an entire article or an entire white paper, but they want to know kind of the executive summary. They want to know what is the key
Yeah.
takeaways that we apply. So I think there's some media that already do this. I think Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken, has their kind of bullet points and what you're going to get from reading this. So I think that is probably more valuable than just once again just hitting them with a bunch of links, which I see most people do. And going back to what you're saying, you feel overwhelmed. You feel you don't know what it's about unless it's a really good headline. It's going to be overwhelming to
It's
them.
lost.
So
Yeah.
it's even better to keep it within the same platform, so that if they can still consume the information, they can still get something valuable
Mm.
just from opening their email, and even if it's like a quick tip or a quick strategy that they can apply, that's enough. But I think I've seen it work very well for my newsletter as well. But I think the challenge is that it does reduce click through rates, but at the same time, what is your goal? Is it your goal to just boost the numbers, or is it for them to consume the content and find value in what
Yeah.
you're doing? So it's a bit of a, yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's also linked to the brand. So you said like Bloomberg, and for me, Economist is also one with very short bite-sized information. So if the brand is so strong in terms of how, the insights that you get, the opinions and the thought leadership pieces or the research pieces that you get, then people will naturally say, okay, I want to go to Deloitte to get the information immediately. So your emails and your website basically become extensions of where they can find information, but they already know that they want to go to your brand to find the credible and trusted source of information. So it's all about brand building. It's not just, okay, I'm creating this personalized website to make your life easier, but at the same time, I want to make sure that my brand continuously be a brand that you want to interact with, and then you are trusting it in terms of information.
You're absolutely right. And I think it's an excellent point that a lot of people forget about when you talk about EDMs and a lot of content is it does boil back to the brand. So
Yeah.
brands that have higher kind of recognition will see better click-through rates, better open rates, because going back to what you're saying, there's a strong brand recognition. They want to find out what Deloitte is doing. So that's a very good point that a lot of people forget about when they're building brand point. It does have a residual kind of impact in terms of everything else you're doing. So that's a beautiful example in terms of Deloitte obviously has a very strong brand, and people who see that even in their inbox, they say, okay, I want to find out what Deloitte is talking about.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point that goes back to brand building in general. And I know you are very passionate about.
Exactly. It's all about building the brand in the right way so that customers remember who you are and know where to go to when they want to interact and find information.
Absolutely. And I'd love to hear kind of now that you've had this set up, what are kind of the next steps, or what would you like to extend on to what you're currently doing?
So what we are thinking of doing right now is moving to a little bit more, I would say, I know this is not new again, mobile first. A lot of the sites, we actually refreshed our site maybe about 4 years ago, and at that point in time we made it search friendly, right? But we made it search friendly from a desktop point of view. But now, Google has already said that, search is definitely from a mobile point of view. How are we going to evolve our website to achieve that? We created this My Deloitte website to make it easy for customers to interact with us. But have we also thought about how are we improving our current generic website to make it, like, at first glance, easy for you to receive content? So I think that's the next step for us, especially with the COVID pandemic right now. Things are moving a lot faster, and we have to evolve our website even more, because that's kind of like the landing page for people when they go to us. But yeah, I guess if there are people who want to be on this personalization journey, I would say that the first thing they need to do is just get into it. Have always on campaigns and real time analysis. Have that one-on-one communication with the customers. It's hard to get started, but in our experience, most companies have a lot of data points, and there's a lot of value in just trying to just embark on a project immediately.
Absolutely. I think last question I would love to get your thoughts on is, now that you've kind of come to this point, what are some of the biggest key learnings, or what do you wish you would have done differently when you were starting in projects?
I would say, talk to more of our internal stakeholders, because what we did was we actually talked to our clients. Okay, what do you want? How would you like to see the information presented? We always go to our customers first, in terms of focus groups and getting analysis, but we forget that actually our own employees are also using the website. I would say even more so than some of our clients, right? Getting the content and sending it to their clients. So, don't forget your internal stakeholders, because your internal stakeholders I would say, they have a lot of ideas, and they know, based on their interaction with the customers, they know what they want to, and they also know how they can push out the information. So if we can get that buy-in between the customers and account teams, I think that seamlessness would be easier to achieve right from the beginning, because what we are doing now is we create this site. Now we want you to sell it to your clients, but if we have sold it to our account teams right from the beginning, then that part is completely done, and the only thing is trying to get our clients on board.
I think it's a very good point, because sometimes, I mean, I completely agree with you. You should be speaking to clients. That should be a natural thing to go. But one thing you'll notice is that, clients will tell you one thing, but account managers who see it from a different perspective can provide a different layer in terms of what are some of the recommendations that clients should be getting, some things that I'm aware of that they should be receiving. So, and it also goes back to, I mean, once again, there's so many applicable ways to use this from a sales point of view. If you get access to, for example, once again, I don't know in terms of data privacy and stuff like that. So for example, if Johnson & Johnson is your biggest global account, is there a way to feed some of that information, not at a personal level, but like at a group level and say, okay, account managers or account directors, whoever's liaising with the client, here is the top 3 most bookmarked or most favorited piece of content that Johnson & Johnson employees are using. Can you use that in your sales conversations going forward, even as a icebreaker, a way to showcase some information, new insights to them? So many applicable ways. And when you put it that way, I think a lot of account managers are very, very excited because they want those insights. They want a way in which to have a better, conversation with their clients. And the best way is obviously to look at what they're already engaging with, add on to there, or look at different ways in which they could expand onto what they're already looking at. So it's a huge, huge win, I think, for account management teams, and I think for sales teams in general.
Exactly. And so when I look at this, I think about the Apple example, right? When Steve Jobs created the Apple products, it's like, let me tell you what you need. So in our case, let us tell our clients what they need, because there is really a lot of content out there that, they may not be able to navigate. So, okay, let me tell you what you need. This is what you need, and this is how you're going to use this product to get what you can, what you are looking for, and how to help you move forward. So I hope that we can come to a point where we can actually really help the C-suites navigate the landscape of content a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautifully said. Well, Jeanette, thank you so much for sharing your experiment. I think it's been very, very valuable to not only professional services, but people who want to embark on a more personalized journey for their clients. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you enjoyed today's interview, please feel free to share it with anyone who's interested in personalization. A lot of really good practical tips and takeaways. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.